I would rather a guy where I know what I'm going to get every single Sunday than a guy that's going to play like a Pro Bowler and then disappear for 3 weeks and then play like a Pro Bowler again. You say it all the time, and you'd be like, damn, Pro Bowlers are good. All pros are good. But the consistency is what everybody looks for. Josh Allen has a problem, and Dan talked about it on the show. He like an adrenaline junkie. Like, I can do this. My arm is strong. I'm finna see how far I can throw the football, and somebody down there. I hope something good happens, right? I hope so. And look, I get it. Like, I understand D-Wood energy, but, like, this is – the people want the Dak Prescott, Josh Allen argument.
Right.
Like, why y'all talk about Dak? Dak played quarterback for the Cowboys. They going to be highly scrutinized more than anybody ever. So let's get over that. The point is, Josh Allen is a turnover machine. As good as his ceiling is, and we saw it. We saw it when they went to Kansas City. He went toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes, make an argument that he played better. We've seen it time and time again. That's why you don't talk about it in that context. But Josh Allen is playing football to where he's going to lose his top target in Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is not – he is tired of having to get this dude confidence back in games. Tell him to be smart with the football. Don't do this, don't do that. You are not going to win a Super Bowl with Josh Allen turning the football over like he does.
It's great that you mentioned this because what struck me I was there for the game. What struck me listening to Sean McDermott, their head coach, was he was asked, are you worried about Josh's confidence? And he said, yeah, sure. And I was like, huh. And he said, he's extremely competitive and wants to be the best, so he's just got to use what he has around him.
Been saying that for years.
Yep.
You've been saying that for years.
So here, this is what was troubling. Again, I sat here, you know what? I sat here last week, sat over there, Dan Orlovsky right here, and I said, if the Bills lose this game, we will have a lot of questions about the Bills. And Dan Orlovsky, damn it, I hope you're watching. Because you laughed at me.
He did.
Because he was like, there's no way. But this is why. Because I watched this Bills team year after year. I listened to these people talk again about Josh Allen. And he is a phenomenal talent. And I sat down with Josh for the Monday Night Football sit-down, and he talked about the accountability that he needs to show. He talked about how the mantra this year is not just do your job, do more. And what did he do? He did more of the same. At his best, he is magic. At his worst, he is an erratic gunslinger who wants to be a running back. And that is what is so frustrating.
Hold on a second. What game are you covering this weekend?
Okay, so I was at Cleveland and Bengals. And then I went to the Monday night game, Jets, Bills. And now I have the Bills this weekend. And I want to see.
You got the Bills this weekend.
And I want to
go to Buffalo.
And I want to see what.
Telling the truth.
Because in that locker room, I talked to all those defensively. I talked to the leaders, and they said, we will ride with 17 until the wheels fall off, which they should.
Yeah,
but the messaging
nice.
is
Well,
not
I don't know about
consistent.
that.
Well, the messaging can't always be, Josh, you need to be smarter. Josh, don't make mistakes. Josh, slide. Because we've been saying it, and something isn't getting in there. So whether it's the coaching staff has to do something, Josh has to do something, but something is wrong in Buffalo. I see my time.
May I
Thank
just
you.
brief? That was very nice. That was a great speech, but may I briefly interject, okay, for one thing?
No.
Everybody said the Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl. They're not going to the Super Bowl with that quarterback playing like that. They are not. And I'll tell you this. And I'm not going to Buffalo, and Sean McDermott, I've known him since he was in Philadelphia. Sean McDermott's on the clock. Josh Allen in Buffalo, they are on the clock.
Yeah.
The AFC is passing them by. If they play, Aaron Rodgers went down after 4 plays, and they lost. They lost to the New York Jets on Monday night.
Last year, too.
Who was the quarterback? Who was the quarterback?
Yeah.
Zach Wilson.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, go ahead, Sal. I'm sorry.
They lost.
I apologize.
Okay, so they're on the clock. And if they don't know that they're on the clock, if they think, well, we're going to just ride Josh Allen until the wheels come off, they're building a new $5 trillion stadium up there in Buffalo.
Because they like the weather advantage, except there's no advantage because Bengals went in there and beat you in the snow.
And they're going to sell PSLs to that stadium, and that's going to be a super expensive ticket to that stadium to people in Western New York where you don't have Fortune 500 companies. This is an issue in Western Buffalo. Remember that.
Do you think that he can stop playing like that? Because I've
No, that's what makes him great.
It reminds me of the great Juicy J. Some things you just can't say no to. Some people like things, they like them so much that they can't say no. Josh
Be a
Allen
gentleman.
likes playing like a defensive tackle so much that he just can't say no. He see an opportunity to run somebody over, man turns into Juicy J.
I don't understand.
It was exactly the comparison I was planning to make. Tell me the difference in your mentality when you woke up yesterday versus what it was when you woke up Monday.
Yeah, it's a completely different reality, because the reality is you knew that Aaron Rodgers could play at a high enough level to get you to a Super Bowl coupled with everything else. Remember, all this talk started and all of this pursuit of Aaron Rodgers is because we looked at every other element of the Jets team outside of the quarterback position and said, man, if they could just have a guy that can do it from that position, they got a chance to win.
Do you know who else did that? Rodgers did that. Rodgers handpicked this situation because it was that good around him.
And the unfortunate part, let me say this, because we've talked about Zach Wilson, and look, we based it off reality of what we've seen him do. I feel terrible for the kid. Like, one, you didn't expect to play. I thought this was going to be a great year for him to be tutored and see how an elite quarterback goes about his job. And then the second thing is, you got Dallas. Like, you got Dallas your first. You got Dan Quinn and Dallas defense your first out.
I know football players want to play, but I have to imagine that man was hurt. He was like, I'm just going to coast this year. I'm going to get in some garbage time minutes, might even get me a Super Bowl ring. Them checks still clear. 3 plays in, they like, you better get your ass out. You better go figure this out.
So new offensive coordinator as well. Like, it's just the unfortunate part is you built everything around making Aaron Rodgers comfortable, and this was his people. And now they got to come in and look, I'm going to venture to say Nathaniel Hackett don't know Zach Wilson. You haven't had a game with this young man. All you know is what everybody else has seen. And we saw what you did with Russell Wilson last year in certain situations. So it's hard for me to believe that this kid is set up for success, even if he played better than he played last year.
Sal, you made a point to me in the meeting, and you guys just touched on it. Of all things, you've got a short week on the road against a defense that looks like it might have as ferocious a pass rush as there is in the National Football League. It's impossible to imagine a worse situation that he could be stepping into than the one he's stepping into.
Everybody wants to talk about reality, okay? Here's the reality. You're a professional football player. You got to go play a football game in Dallas on a short week. So what are you going to do about it, okay? You can't just roll your glove out there and say you're going to win the baseball game. You got to actually prepare for the Dallas Cowboys, and you've got to make some changes. We're looking at these highlights of the Dallas defense all over the New York Giants. If you go back and roll the highlights of what the Buffalo Bills did against Zach Wilson when he came into the game, it was the same thing. A lot of pressure off the left side.
Yep.
What are we doing? Why is he in the pocket to begin with? So if Nathaniel Hackett doesn't know who Zach Wilson is, I hope he's going to get acquainted in the next couple of days. I hope he's going to get acquainted, because I can't even believe that you said that, because coaches need to be acquainted with their football players. So here's the first thing that I do. First thing I do is I draw up, okay, let me see some boot action. Let me see some play action. Let me get the guy out of the pocket and on the run a little bit. Yep. He does do a pretty good job. I've watched him a lot on tape of delivering the football, running to his right. Teams know that. So design some protection schemes that allow that to happen. I'm not saying they're going to win the football game. Right, but all I'm saying, you got to give him his best chance. That's one. Give him his best chance. Hold on, let me finish. And then the six games on the schedule before the bye. Okay, you won one. Can you beat the Patriots in 3 weeks? That's a game I'm covering. Can you win that game? Can you go to Denver and beat the Broncos? It's going to be hard to beat the Chiefs when they come in here. It's going to be hard to beat Dallas. Can you go 3-3 and keep hope alive, okay, before you go on the bye? There is the schedule. Can you beat the Pats? You got a 56% chance of winning that. Go to the Broncos in Mile High. You got a 47% chance of winning that. Can you win those 2 football games?
The first step, I think, is to have a good showing this weekend. And Swagu made an analogy earlier that I think when we're talking about this team and the way that the players feel, when they woke up before that game, anything was possible. They were thinking about what college they were going to go to. They might go to Ivy Leagues. They might become a doctor. They woke up after that. We just got to make it through the day. They are trying to figure out how they're going to keep the lights on. That's all they need to do.
Yes.
And I know that they're going to go out there and try to win. But no, keep the lights on against Dallas.
Survive in advance. That's it.
Kim,
Survive
get
in
in here.
advance.
You know this organization really well inside. Actually, I want to ask you, because you were there, in the aftermath of it that night, and there's all this elation because they ran a punt back to win a game, and obviously that was their intention. But as reality now starts to set in, we're going forward now without the guy, what do you imagine is going on in there?
Well, I mentioned the first hour, Garrett Wilson's comments to Barton Hahn when he talks about seeing Aaron in the training room at halftime. And he says, "We love you, man." And Aaron says, "Sorry, kid, I love you too." And what Garrett said was, "We love Aaron, and he brings a certain energy with him, and we were trying to imitate it when he went down." Like, that is something that was reminiscent of the Mike White days, the Mike White era, where guys just fed off of that. They were like, this is our guy. I've never felt that way watching them with Zach Wilson. And I feel like this team, now they actually have to build up Zach Wilson so that they can kind of ride together. And that's a completely different mind shift. The coaches, earlier you mentioned Nathaniel Hackett. Behind the scenes, he has been developing a relationship with Zach Wilson. The key for this coaching staff is really, it's all mental with Zach Wilson. He has all the skills in the world, right? But it really is when pressure comes, is he making the right decisions? Is he seeing stuff? He looks scared at times in the pocket.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.